So now, almost 5 years after I started this podcast, we're 71 episodes in now, and we have a chief innovation officer here at one of the top 100 companies on the planet with us today. And that's very exciting. But as I started reading your book, it gave me some pause because you mentioned that innovation is a horrible word because the term has become so buzzy. It seems to have lost all practical meaning. So as I sat and reflected on that, and I thought, did I choose the name of this podcast appropriately? Was it just a buzzword that I was choosing? Because you're right. The word innovation seems to be everywhere these days. And you mentioned that because of the overuse of this word, many in our society and our culture are confused by its meaning and the very concept of innovation. So I wanted to ask you if you could please tell us a little bit more about what innovation means to you and why you wrote your book, Fearless Innovation.
It's well, first of all, it's probably right. If you ask your guests, you probably get a very different response on what innovation is. And but the innovation happens when agents of innovation come together, right? So it's I think one thing that I really want to highlight is that it's innovation is typically it's a team sport. Right, it doesn't happen in the basement. So a lonely innovator is a myth, right? There could be a lonely inventor, right? But then at the end of the day, innovation happens in teams. And you've talked about the early settlers and the people that make different choices, and we all know that it takes courage and it takes embracing the unknown and it takes not getting no for an answer. So to me, innovation is an ability to stay open, right? To stay open and act on it and create something new and not being settled in the dogmas, right? So when I think about fearless innovation, I honestly think that my innovation hero is my son. And he's 5.5 years old, Matthew, and he does not take no for an answer because he doesn't know that no exists. He challenges me, and the way I look at how he builds Legos, right? He builds he looks at the manual, he creates something, and he says, "Well, I think I could do something different and better," right? And he doesn't understand why cars can't fly. And perhaps cars will fly one day because of people like Matthew who really are open to all sorts of possibilities. And I think this is who the agents of innovation are. I think we're all born innovators, and then somehow as we become adults and somehow perhaps we lose that. So when you talk about artists and musicians and philanthropists and a lot of them are really in touch with their childlike curiosity. So of course they're agents of innovation.
Well, great. We also mentioned in the book, you say innovation isn't a thing. It's a mindset and attitude made up of clear principles, and that those principles can be put into practice. Please tell us a little bit more about innovation as a mindset and attitude and how we can apply it.
Right. And if I think about the innovation as a mindset, right, as we probably many will agree that life is a journey and not a destination. And then the more we are focused on the journey, the more happier we are, right? And if I think about the innovation, right, innovation is definitely the mindset. It's the mindset of being urgently curious. It's a mindset of not denying change, and it's a mindset of embracing the unknown. And if I think about different principles, right, I think about it mostly from an organizational perspective. But the one thing that I want to highlight, just picking one of them, is innovation in organizations. When we look at a commercial entity, it certainly requires a sense of purpose. And I'm sure there has been some debates on your podcast about can you measure innovation? And one of the principles that I have is innovation must be measured. In fact, when we think about in a commercial entity, we must begin with a clear purpose, right? Because at the end of the day, it's what is the metric that we want to move through innovation, right? Would that be a customer satisfaction? Would that be revenue? Would that be whatever that is, right? We apply that mindset of being curious and about being open and willing to change things to achieve a particular business goal.